What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is your host, Sunny from the podcast It's Always Sunny in the Six. And first of all, hope you guys had a relaxing and productive weekend. It is a new month, a new week, November, a little bit of snow. As always, we have another episode for you guys lined up this week. It's an exciting one with a very special guest, Jesse Bruce. For those of you who know who Jesse is, you guys already know that this episode is going to be an incredible one. But for those of you who don't know who Jesse is, I promise you, you don't want to miss out on this episode. And let's find out. You want to know something funny, Jesse? I started this podcast it's been about a year. Okay. And I have a top 10 list in this little book of mine.
Yeah.
And you were on that list.
Oh yeah.
So I want to start this podcast by saying it's an honor and privilege to have you here, Jesse.
Thank you very much.
For the listeners that are tuning in right now, Jesse Bruce is an individual that's kind of inspired so many people in Toronto. We have such a small world, actually. I heard about you, Jesse. I don't know if you know Manny Dio.
I do know Manny.
That's my family, my cousin.
Oh, really?
I'm in Hansra.
I was going to say, you know what? You really you have the same features. You guys really look alike.
Yeah. He and then Amita and JB.
Yeah. They're all members of my gym. They're amazing.
They're my close friends
and
family. So I messaged them like, oh man, we're so jealous. Jesse's here. I'm like, yeah, man. But I've been to your classes as well.
Okay, yeah.
I got my ass kicked. I remember the very first class I attended at One Academy was the Everest class.
Oh, no way. They brought you out to Everest for your first time.
Yeah. And I remember it was 90 minutes. Well, it felt like 2 days.
Yeah, it's a long one.
It's a long one, yeah. But Jesse, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
It's a privilege to have you. Like I said before, it's a Thursday night, so I know you have a super busy schedule.
Tomorrow's my day off.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice. So Jesse, do you want to maybe introduce yourself, what you do? For the people that don't know who you are.
My name is Jesse Bruce. I'm a co-founder and program director of One Academy, a strength and cardio gym in Leslieville. I'm known for being an endurance athlete, mostly obstacle course races, and then like to dabble in some other stuff too.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think, One Academy, for the listeners out there that are outside of Toronto, first of all, One Academy is a massive facility. It's about 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
You guys, this is what, the third year?
Yeah, we just had our 3-year anniversary in July.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys are still grinding away. Like the gears are still grinding away. 2020, in spite of everything that's happened this year.
We're still trucking. We're still pushing.
So I know when you walked in, I was like, okay, I need to get something to drink. And these are not bad.
They're pretty good.
These are they from Ontario? Yeah.
You know what? I don't even know. I'm all about the Heinies, but these partakes are very, very good too.
Yeah. This is actually really good.
Because that used to be my drink back in the day, my beer. So when Heineken came out with a 0.0, I was like, what? And then honestly, you wouldn't know the difference.
And it tastes, because a lot of times with beer, man, I don't really like that. I get so bloated.
Yeah.
Super bloated. So I try to stay away from that as much as possible now, especially, I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's the truth, right?
Well, that's a good thing about the 0.0s too, because I'm only drinking 1 or 2 and not 20.
So, before we dive into it and talk about your fitness journey and your personal journey, I kind of want to do a pulse check with you, Jesse. We're in October, the year is almost wrapping up. How have you been doing, man?
To be honest with you, I like right now I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a good spot. I'm blessed. I'm fortunate. I'm in a good place. I know a lot of people are out there struggling, and have gone through a lot and been in some darkness. So honestly, it was like for everybody, it was really scary at the start, not knowing the future of your gym.
Yeah.
But I'm blessed with just the staff, my coworkers, the members at our gym have saved me. It's been dark, and then going in that empty gym and turning on that virtual camera and having having those friendly faces, your gym be there, and still in me and the trainers at the start we're in communication a lot, and we're passing each other at the gym, and my partners are great and the staff. So I've been doing all right, and it's been
How have you been? I mean, I know you guys have been teaching your virtual classes. So sorry.
Yeah.
How's that coming along, man? Like,
It's been going really, really good. I can, I can say with confidence that we run some of the best virtual classes
right
in the country, possibly the planet.
I mean, I believe that, because I think one of the things, one of the biggest propelling factors of me messaging you and DMing you, and I'm happy this happened and it came into fruition so quickly. I watched your documentary last year and I rewatched it recently, New Addiction, and the ending gave me the chills, right?
Very good, thanks.
And I think that's the thing with One Academy, especially your classes, even with you're going virtual, is that you have a loyal community.
Yeah.
Massive loyal community. Manny, for example, preaches about One Academy all the time, and I see how much Manny, and Amita, how much their lives have changed from when even within the 2 years that they've been a part of the community. Now with this pandemic, you probably have a massive international, like a global reach now.
Oh yeah,
right?
It's been so cool seeing the people from literally all over the world to come and take a class. Like we had a few people from different places, in Africa, all over Europe. We have regulars that are coming in from the UK,
right,
across the country, all over the US. It's pretty cool.
Nice. And I mean, I guess we'll talk about the gym as well, because I'm curious to see. It's kind of sad to see, like, as from a business perspective as well, what's happening in the world, right? Like gyms across the city, especially in Toronto. I've seen like you guys have taken the necessary means and provisions. I actually went to a One Academy class during like when you guys reopened.
Okay.
And you guys were like to the point, temperature check as soon as you entered. You sign up, you clean. You're literally within your station. Got my ass kicked again, of course, and I realized how much beer I've been drinking over the course of the summer. But it was kind of sad for me to see the city kind of, put gyms to be the first people to kind of get the whack in the head and be like, well, cases are going up and, gyms are going to feel the brunt end of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was frustrating and deflating, but at the same time, it's like, okay, one more freaking wall we got to climb, one more wall we got to run through. We're still here, like, and we want to support the decisions as much as it can be frustrating. You might not agree with everything. We want to be, we want to support, we want to be safe, take care of our community to be safe, and we don't want to cause more turmoil or whatever, a fight, whatever. We're just gonna roll with the punches, and whatever happens, we're gonna keep going
and make things happen, right? I love that. That's what I think, like, even with this podcast, like, it's super chill, super laid back to kind of get to know you at a personal level as well. And like One Academy, I think, there's this one post that you, I remember you shared this, the slogan, and you weren't a big firm believer of slogans, right? And for us, like, I think the biggest slogan for One Academy is that we're in it together, right? One together.
Yeah, we're stronger as one.
We're stronger as one.
That's our biggest one.
And I think that's the biggest thing going into this year, to kind of, what have you, like, at a personal level, has this year specifically been a challenge for you?
I would say for sure, yeah. I've lost the gym before in my life.
Okay.
And this gym was, a struggle to get started, and we built, I built a community with my first gym, and the first gym I lost was their home, and I didn't think I would ever have to deal with that again, because we were going so strong, and I was like, oh man, so at first you don't know, right? And like my gym it's my life. It's all it's my whole life. Maybe that's not even a good thing, but
right.
It's, I couldn't, it's scary when you think you don't know if people are going to come to it. You don't know if there's going to be, another depression or whatever, and everybody loses their job. You're going to give it up, and you're right back down to square one. And so, and then for me, I'm alone. I'm lucky I got my little dog.
I saw that.
I got a little dog last year, my little buddy, King Kong. So
Kong, yeah. What kind of dog?
A Shih Tzu.
Oh, nice.
I grew up with a Shih Tzu. And I always wanted to get another one.
Yeah.
Me and my mom had one when I was a kid and growing up in high school. Such a good dog. So
Nice.
I got the opportunity last year and got him. So he's helped me a lot. I haven't been so alone. And again, I have such a good team and community and partners. But yeah, personally, it's been, like everybody, it's been hard. I've had some bad days.
Right.
Had some good days.
Right.
But,
you got to keep moving, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned Kong, because I, for a second, was thinking about getting a dog. I'm like, okay, we're in this pandemic. I'm working here, I'm working out here, got this podcast going on. It kind of gets suffocating being in a condo a little bit. And I think probably now was probably the best time to get a dog if I wanted one. Yeah. But then I get reminded of the 2 set of elevators.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, I guess to get into a little bit more, Jesse, I know you as well. I've gotten to know you, through the word of mouth of the people around me and also through your story. I think it's important to understand a lot of people out there are kind of struggling a little bit in terms of their own challenges. And you've inspired so many people, man.
Thank you.
And so for that, I am truly privileged to have you here on the podcast. And I guess for the people that don't know, Jesse, what's your story? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you...
You want the long version or
Let's
the
do it, man. We got a couple more of those.
My story, I grew up in Kitchener-Waterloo. Actually, I was born in Toronto. I moved to Kitchener-Waterloo when I was 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
Won't go back that far.
In the city?
I was in the West End, High Park.
Okay.
To go quickly, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there tired of hearing my story over and over and over again. But
there's probably a big population that don't even they're hearing your name for the first time, possibly, because a lot of my listeners are also from the States.
Okay. Oh, really cool.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Okay. So, I grew up really, low self-esteem, no confidence. I loved playing sports. I had a couple friends. That's all we did all day long, every day. But I really struggled at a young age with, just not feeling like I fit in, not feeling like I belong anywhere. And I discovered alcohol at a pretty young age. And, for the first time, it allowed me to escape. It allowed me to be someone else that other people liked, someone else that I liked more, someone else that, fit in. And it just became, my life from a pretty young age. It was about going to get beer, steal it from wherever. I was pretty young. So
how old are you when you first started?
I was probably 11, 12.
Oh shit.
13, 14. Then going into high school, we were, me and my cousin and friends and whatever. Our life was running around stealing beer at a people's garage.
Right.
And, whatever. That was kind of our life. But it became a problem at a pretty young age. I was smoking a lot of dope, and I started doing even poorly in school. I stopped playing all sports. And, the more I partied, the more I drank, the less, the more my self-esteem, the more my confidence shrunk. I started, discovering more harder drugs. Ecstasy became a big part of my life, and I was high every day, all day. My life was to get high, and I was ruining relationships. I ruined my relationship with my family. I was kicked out of school over and over again.
Right.
In trouble with the law. I was already in group home and open custody joints when I was a young teenager. And then just paralleled. The more trouble I got, the worse I felt, and I got myself into, a pretty, what I call depression. Like there's low self-esteem, there's no confidence, there's feeling depressed, but there's depression, there's clinical depression, and it's permanent. It doesn't go away. It's there every day, and it's a tightness in your pain in your chest that never goes away. It's a shortness of breath. It's a permanent anxiety. It's I was going days without, I could not sleep. I was going 2, 3, 4 days without sleeping. Just that, just overcome with that darkness, that walking through the hallways and just not being able to look anyone in the eye. Wouldn't even be able to talk to my mom, who was my best friend, and it was really bad. And I honestly thought I was permanently stuck that way. I thought I did, so much drugs, and I thought I had hurt so many people, and I thought I had permanently made myself that way. And I thought I deserved it. I thought I didn't think I was a good person. I didn't like myself. I remember, I would go and brush my teeth or wash my hands somewhere and just avoid at all costs even looking at myself in the mirror. And the only thing I knew to make myself feel better, even if it was just going to be for one night, was drinking, getting high, whatever. And I was losing my mind. I was getting in fights. I was really hurting myself. I was in and out of jail, which actually, sparked a turning point in my life, because I went to jail for about 7 months, and I went in there skin and bone. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't eating. I would go in days without even eating. You can see every single bone in my body. My face was pale. I had bad skin. My eyes would have been red, and I was just a mess. And I went into jail there, and I remember it made me even sick to even eat. And I stayed in there for about 7 months, and I was transferred to a prison up in Ottawa, and they had a...
What happened? Like, how'd you end up in jail? Like,
I was fighting a lot. I was... once you start getting in trouble the first few times and get in trouble with the law, and I was a pretty violent kid. I was losing my mind and getting in fights. And
I find that so hard to believe, like, seeing the person that you are today.
Yeah, I know everyone says, everybody who knows me now says they can't believe it. Soul. Yeah. And my friends who knew me from the past will say they can't believe the turnaround. So it's funny sometimes when those two crowds of people come together. But once you're in the system and once you're on probation, and they put all the terms on you, can't be out past 9 p.m. and can't drink and all this stuff. I'm like, it's a ticket back to jail, pretty much. So.
Right.
But I went in and I was able to eat regularly and lift weights every day.
That was probably the best thing that happened.
One of the best things that ever happened. I can honestly say, now I wouldn't recommend this for any young people at home wanting to turn their life around, but jail, it saved me. It got me off the street. It got me away from dope for a while. Got me regularly eating. I graduated high school, when I was 22 in there. Who knows how long it would have taken me to graduate high school. But I came out there with a new confidence. I came out there finally with something to feel good about. I hadn't felt good about something about myself for 7-8 years.
How long were you inside?
That time about 7 months probably.
Right.
And then I got out, stayed with it for the most part, working out.
How old were you the first time when you got out? Like,
well, I was fresh 18 my first time going to adult jail.
Right.
When I would have been in and out from the time I was 18 till 23. And I still managed to actually land myself back there when I was in college at 27. That's a whole other story in itself. Yeah. But I made it through college. But so that was, I was still struggling with my addictions, but I was able to, I had periods of sobriety period. Like, I had hope. I knew I eventually wanted.
Right.
I wanted to help people get strong. Get big. At first, it was, I appeared better. I was physically stronger. It made me. It gave me a confidence, but there was still something missing. Like, I still wanted to die. You know what I mean? Like, but it was one thing that gave me confidence, and one thing I wanted to give to people that were struggling with the same things I did. Right. So it would I eventually got myself back together enough. I finally went back to school, night school, got the credits I needed to go to college.
Right.
And at 27, I went back to college for fitness and health promotion.
That's amazing. Cheers to that, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
Man. Cheers to that, bro.
Thank you.
At 27, okay, so you went back and got, in a way, I think you said it best in your documentary, fitness kind of saved you.
It did.
And there was this one line that you said, and it kind of, like, it really hit home for me. Is this what you want out of life? Right?
Yeah,
exactly. Is this what you want out of life?
That was at my lowest point. And I remember, because I was in hell. You know what I mean? At that time, I wasn't living anywhere.
Right.
And I was in this room full of all walks of life, and it was just so depressing.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? There's people doing all kinds of drugs, and it's just a bad, awful, scary scene. You
Right.
know, I was like, and I'm in it. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is your life. Like, you are one of these people.
Yeah.
And I know I would never want to talk down on any of them, because I was one of them. But everybody in that room has a chance at a new life.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, you know, is this what you want for your life? You know, is this it?
Yeah. It was kind of like and I see it even in my own personal experiences where, you know, it's like it becomes a mirror of reflection. Is this what you want? Is this where do you see yourself 10 years from now? You know,
it. You're looking at yourself in that room.
Yeah.
And it's like instantly right there. You have a choice to make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can choose to get to work and whatever. I can stay in there, and I chose to go to work.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Mind you, my life just didn't change right there. Believe me,
it was a process, right?
It was a long process, a lot of walls, a lot of mountains.
Right. But, a lot of people think that when they think about positive shift in habits and whatnot, that it's just a goddamn fucking switch that you just fucking turn it on, but it's not.
No.
You know, you go through your highs and you chase those highs, and then you go down the lows, the rock bottoms again, and it becomes, you might have a period of time where you kill it and you slay it and you're doing well, and then you go back down that abyss. Yeah. And life is all about kind of challenges being thrown at you.
It is.
You know?
And to me, it's like, it's practice. You know, every time you do it, you get a little bit better at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like every time
your skin gets thicker a little bit, right?
Yeah. It's like now you can't, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's anything that can happen to me now in this life that would really, you know, phase me to the point where it would bring me back to where I was. There's nothing that would happen. Like, sure, there's going to be, you know, heartbreaking, terrible times, and you're still going to get brought to your knees, but nothing that would make me go back to where I was.
Right. Do you think, Jesse, and just your personal opinion, and for people out there that are struggling in their own little journeys as well, like that you have to kind of hit rock bottom to truly understand that the changes that you need to make in life to be a better person and do better in life?
Yeah. Well, I think hitting rock bottom helps because it's got to be the decision on the person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be, like, it's, no one else is going to, you can't force someone to change their life or turn it around. Like, they have to make the decision for themselves, and, you know, hitting that bottom is going to help them. So you shouldn't, you know, it's going to, like, it really helped me. But then again, like, I probably hit my bottom way before I decided to really, you know, make a change in my life.
It's almost like you gotta have to re-maneuver and reconfigure one addiction to another. Like Manny and Manny grew up together. We've caused our own share of trouble and ruckus growing up. I remember the first drink I had was probably with him. First J I smoked was probably with him. And seeing him today and the level of commitment both him and Anita have to running. He made a comment once. He's like, this is like, it's an addiction. Like, I have to get up in the morning and I have to fucking run.
Well, it's inspiring, man, because those guys are in the 5:15 class and they're running at night, and I'm like, whoa, I don't even do that.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't catch me in that gym working out at 5:15. I have a hard time even teaching it.
Yeah. I hear you, man. I have Strava downloaded, so like I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit last month. So I always see them on Strava, and I'm like, oh man, these guys are up so early. It's good. It's amazing. You know, I think that's the beauty of how, you know, your story relates to so many people's stories. And I've had my own little. We've all have like our own little struggle. You know, I've partied and I've been in positions where I kind of look in the mirror and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with my life, right? Like, I have everything good going for me, yet I make these constantly bad decisions. And I think fitness has been a very big savior, and from a very therapeutic point of view. You know, like it's finding that consistency and whatnot. What's your advice, Jesse, for people that are kind of like that struggle with the idea of discipline and also staying consistent? And I'm sure you struggle with it as well, but you know, you're kind of up here. I look to you.
I think it's kind of giving yourself a break and giving yourself a schedule and a plan,
right,
that you can follow at the start and then progress that plan. You know what I mean? Because some people go and, you know, they haven't done anything in a while, and they watch are inspired by a movie or whatever, Instagram or YouTube video, and like, today's going to be the day. You know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to freaking hammer and I'm going to go every day and whatnot. And it's like, yo, you're going to burn yourself out. You're not going to make it not enjoyable. So be like, you know what? I'm going to get up 3 mornings next week and I'm going to do the 45-minute workout. You don't have to go run, you don't have to go run 20K. Yeah. Just get your workout in. In a couple weeks, discipline yourself, make your plan a little bit harder. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Set the day, give yourself a day off a week. I have a cheat day once a week. It gets freaking nasty, man.
Is that tomorrow?
I've been rotating between. No, it's Sundays. I've been rotating between KFC and Pizza Hut.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta treat yourself.
What do you get from KFC?
I get the 4-piece chicken meal, and nice. Sometimes I even get a side of popcorn chicken on top of that.
Okay. Man, their fucking sandwiches are so dope.
I know, yeah.
Have you had Chick-fil-A?
No.
Do you want? There's Chick-fil-A. Like literally, it's the best sandwich ever.
Really?
Yeah, man, it's down the street.
Okay. Yeah, no, I haven't. I'll have to come there. I'll have to come down here on Sunday.
Hit me up. You know where to find me.
Yeah.
So like, your fitness journey inspired you. How did you get into the business of, like, how did you get into now sharing that journey and sharing in that where you are today with the people around you? Like One Academy specifically. You mentioned you were at a gym before that.
Yeah, I started. So One Academy is actually my third company.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So after I was done drinking beer and doing cocaine and whatnot, I got myself to Niagara College, graduated from there, and I ended up getting really, high marks. I finished at the top of my class, right? Which it was. I don't even know how I managed to do that because I was still binging and whatever. And I was staying sober for a bit, just long enough to get really good marks. I even ended up back in jail a couple times actually. Oh shit! In college, but I made it through with really good marks, and I was accepted into kinesiology at University of Guelph Humber. Okay. And that was when my first time that I really said I need to quit drinking because I was ruining relationships with friendships I made. I was still disappointing my dad. And here I'm at university. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm feeling like the same shit I felt when I'm lying on someone random's living room floor. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I'm so sick of it. And I knew I had, and I, right there I did, everything. I'm like, I got to do everything. I was biking across city. I was biking from, to AA meetings everywhere. I was biking. I remember one was all the way at Jane and Finch, and I was at school at 427 at Finch, and I was on my little freaking bike, my little crappy bike, and I was biking across there, but I was desperate. I was so sick of it, and I was going to school and personal training, and there was a cross-country team there.
Okay. At Guelph Humber?
Yeah. So Guelph Humber is affiliated with Humber, so you get to try out for these teams, and I'm 29, 30 this time. And this kid in my class was on the team, and we kind of got to know each other through fitness. And he's like, you should try out. I'm like, shit. I'm like, okay, I'll try out. It'll be fun to be on a team. Here I am at 29. Okay. You go there, and everybody's 17, 18, 19. And I'm this, like, kind of rough-looking guy and show up. And one kid even thought I was the coach and came up and shook my hand. And I'm like, no, I'm here to try out. Yeah. And it's funny because I barely made that team. And it was also another important, significant part of my life because I felt what it was like to be on a team of, we developed strong friendships. We trained together. We did these races together. Mm-hmm. And they were my brothers and my sisters. And it was just being a part of that team, like that positive team. We weren't getting shit-faced. We weren't, scheming for dope or whatever. Like it was, we genuinely cared about each other. And
that's huge though, because I feel like you're the product, and as cliche as it sounds, it's facts that you are the product of the people you surround yourself with. You are the product of your environment. If you feel like you're making poor decisions, it's pretty likely that you're probably surrounding yourself with people that are kind of encouraging you or are also participating in that, right? Yeah. So that probably makes a huge, major difference when you join a community like that.
It was huge, and I wanted. It's another thing that inspired my company because I wanted to create that for other people. I wanted to give other people that family, that team environment who may not have had that. So my first company I started, I ended up staying there for 4 years. I did 2 years. I finished kinesiology there. Knew I wanted to start a business. Had no idea how, so I just took business management there and ran a couple more years. So, you know, by the time I was done there, I think I was 32, 33 years old, still running cross country. But again, huge experience for me. And I started my first company, Time for War Fitness. And I basically bought a van and loaded it with every single freaking heavy piece of equipment, rocks, tires, sledgehammers, cinder blocks, everything. I had everything. I would load up that van. I would go and set up these obstacle courses were getting big at the time.
Okay.
And I wanted to train people for those because I went and did one. It was what I was looking for. You know, men, women, young, old, beginners, athletes.
So are these like outdoor classes or?
Yeah, I was running them at Centennial Park in Etobicoke and then
nice.
Chinguacousy in Brampton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brampton.
Yeah. You can have, so Brampton, you can actually run camps for free at parks. Right. Toronto, you got to get a permit and pay. So I was like, okay, I'll pay for Toronto on Tuesday and Thursday and run them for free in Brampton on Monday and Wednesday just to save keep my costs down.
Right. I mean, that's actually pretty smart if you think about it, right? Because it's like the space, the real estate's there. It's a park.
Yeah.
Permit probably cost you maybe a couple $100 at the most, or
I think
less than that.
That time it was like $40 a session.
Right.
So it's not bad.
Okay. So first of all, the name.
Yeah.
I kind of want to set. Sorry, I'm segueing a little bit, but I want to set the stage for my listeners. When I was in Jesse's class, Jesse makes it feel like you're going to go into a fucking war. Like the speech, before you start working out, it's like Gladiator almost. Like you're going to fucking go to war. Yeah. And I remember when I first walked in, I was kind of like, oh, I'm a little tired, you know, like, oh, it's so early. It was a morning class, 8 a.m. Yeah. Dude, by the time you gave your little speech, I was ready to like get it on. So yeah, that's good. I mean, that name alone that's kind of always been your mantra.
It was my mantra. I got it tattooed on my stomach. That was actually that about that same point. I was like, is this what you want for your life? That Time for War became my mantra then. Right. Because I'm like, it's time for war. It's life or death. Right. Literally. Yeah. Literally. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm going to frickin' war. So.
I'm going to name this episode Time for War with Jesse Bruce.
It's a great name.
Done. So that was, how long did that company last for?
So I did that for 1 year.
Okay.
And then I was participating in obstacle courses around Ontario and Quebec, and I was doing very well. I was, winning a lot. I was on the podium every time.
Right.
And someone saw, and I was affiliated with someone down in the East End, down in the docks, and he saw what I was doing, and a facility opened up down there. Okay. And he approached me about it, and I wanted a facility. Obviously, didn't want to be in a park for the rest of my life.
What year was this?
So this was, what year was that? This would have been maybe 2014.
Okay. So not too long ago.
Around there somewhere.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, and we went and opened up Alpha Obstacle Training down at the docks, and I was running classes, and I was running obstacle course events. Right. So down at, if you know the soccer domes down there at Cherry Beach and the beach ball volleyball courts, I used to have walls, climbing ropes out back. There was monkey bars back there. We had a mud pit, and we'd load up the pit with all kinds of heavy bags, and again, anything heavy I could find, and we would have these obstacle courses. I would flag the whole Cherry Beach through the trails and on the beach and get people in the water, and it was awesome. We created something really special. We had the members that are still with me today. Mike,
shout out to Mike.
Yeah, Mike Ma is one of our top trainers. This guy's a warrior. One of my first members at Alpha Obstacle Training.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's what is he, like a finance something?
Yeah, he worked at CPPIB. Yeah, and then doing did a little early retirement, and good for him.
It's a cool story because he's so good with the people, and he's everybody loves him, and he was motivating him, and I'm like, this guy should be a trainer at this gym. And at first he was training and working, and then made the jump. Like, yo, training is something I want to do. So,
Right.
Probably had to take a little bit of a pay cut, but
still, I mean,
hopefully one day he'll be making the money he was making before.
I mean, at the end of the day, this is your passion too.
Yeah.
I think the biggest, the most admirable thing you can do in life is when you can kind of combine, the vehicle that makes money in life and pays your bills and more, fingers crossed, with your passion at the end of the day. And when you have that level of commitment, it takes a little bit of time. You'll eventually get there.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true. Because I never even thought about money. I'm like, man, if I wanted to make money, I definitely wouldn't have signed up to take personal training, right?
Yeah,
it's a hard, like there's money out there to be made, but you're going to have to work hard and grind to get there. And so I never thought about that for years. And finally I was like, oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little bit of money in my pocket. I was able to move into a nice little place, and then the pandemic hit and I couldn't afford it anymore.
I know, yeah. Fucking 2020.
I know.
So then how did One Academy come about 3 years ago?
So I was in, it wasn't working out with me and my partner down at the docks. It was a tough go. I was doing so much, right? He had his own another business. So, I was in there. I was, teaching classes 6 days a week, running this course. We had not much support for, any admin stuff, and it was a hard go. And we decided to part ways, and basically sold the place to another company. And there was a couple of members of my gym, of Alpha, who were a part of, the army we created. There was like 100 of us, and we were traveling to obstacle course races and trail races and whatever all over. And they saw what we had done and the bonds and whatever that had been created, and the magic and the vision. And, they were like, they called me down into their office, and they own an advertising agency. They run one together. Okay. And
in Toronto.
Yeah, in Toronto. It's called King Ursa. So if you're looking for any advertising in Toronto, shout out King Ursa.
Yeah, there's a plug right there.
Yeah. So, they set me down and they were like, Jesse, we really believe in what you and, Mike and everybody has created, and we want to support you financially with their expertise, and they're like, we believe that we can do something really special together. And it started right there. That was 2016.
Right. And here we are today.
Here we are.
What's been your proudest moment since you opened One Academy?
Proudest moment on like a business
could be
standpoint?
Business or could be personal. Like could be. This was actually a question that was asked by somebody on Instagram.
Okay.
They had asked, like, since you opened One Academy, what's like been your proudest moment? So
the moments that make me by far the most proud and like really kind of make me have to take a deep breath, and you might see the smallest little tear come out of my eye, but it's the messages I get, people saying how much the gym has affected their life and how much it has changed their life. And it's kind of like you take a step back and in this world and in the business and the grind, and it gets you can get caught up in it, and struggling and trying to balance the business side and the professional side with the personal side, and you can get caught up in it. And then when you get these messages and you're like, whoa, you got to kind of take a deep breath, and you're like, wow, like this is what I wanted to do 10 years ago. I wanted to make an impact in somebody's life. I wanted to change someone's life. I wanted to help someone that was going through hell, and it's like we're doing it. So sometimes you got to stop and you got to look down on what you're doing. And like sometimes it's interesting because I remember one that sticks out is when there's this gentleman, he came to our gym and he was crushing the classes, and he didn't talk a lot. Okay. And you wouldn't have known this guy was going through, and he kind of struggles. And he came in, and obviously I know him by name and say hi and whatever. We chat a bit, and I'm friendly obviously with everybody that comes in. We're on the same team. But he was a quiet guy, but still like assertive looking, had a good job and whatever. And then he was actually moving to a different he was moving to the States, and he just sent me a long message just about how much the gym meant to him and how he was going through his own battles and his own, struggles with his mental health, and how much the gym and myself and the trainers had saved his life. And it was like, we get messages like that quite frequently. So those are my proudest moments, I would say.
Yeah, I think that, when we first started this episode, I asked you a question about how do you stay disciplined and how do you stay motivated. And I think it goes back to when you get messages like that and you see how much you're inspiring the people around you and how much, yes, you've changed everything in your life, but now you're kind of translating and sending that message and giving that energy to everybody else that you can do it too.
Well, that's it.
And I think the listener, whoever you are out there listening as well, like whatever struggle you're going through, like let the story be, motivation for you to get up and just do something, right? Whether it's maybe getting out there and pushing 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers. Jesse, man, I know you casually do a marathon. And I think that's like, it's crazy to see, like, what do you remember your first time you ran? Like, what was it, or the first time you participated in a race?
I ran, or my first ever race?
Race.
I remember the first time I really ran. My dad used to bring me out. I used to
how
call
old
them
are
these
you?
death runs. I was probably 18. He would bring me out. It's funny because I think about it now, because he would have been in his 50s.
Okay.
And I would have been, because my dad was older when he had me. And I used to get so pissed at him because he would go, and I'd be dying during these 5Ks. And I remember we were getting back to our house, and I'm thinking, finally, this is done. I can go have a smoke or whatever. And it wasn't done. He took me around the block. He's like, we're not going. I was so rattled. I was like, yo, what the fuck? I'm like, this is insane. So I called them these death runs. But those were my first runs, I remember.
Right.
But my first race, I guess, would have been our first cross-country race. And it was tryouts for the team to be on the team. So I was kind of nervous.
Right.
And it was at Guelph University. And if you know anything about, if anybody knows anything about cross-country running, they probably don't. But Guelph is like a top tier. It's the best in Canada.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like they have. So we went there, and and a lot of us are new, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Right.
And we went out, and gun goes, and boom, right off the gate. So you don't know what you're doing. I'm going hard. It was a few of us on my team that just died and just got smoked. But I kind of knew what place I had to come in on the team to make the team. So I was like, okay, as long as I come in the top 9 on the team, I'm gonna be on this cross country team. And I think I was 9th or something. I think I was the very last place guy that came in. I made the team barely, but I was a pretty strong guy, and my fitness translated over that first year, and I ended up becoming one of the faster guys in the team, and then I captained it.
And you're like, fuck this shit. I don't want to be number 9. You moved your way up the ladder, right?
It was cool, And then I had a strength background. Okay. And then I did my first obstacle course.
Right.
And I ended up winning that one, and then discovered Spartan racing.
Which one was the first
So
obstacle
it would have been
course?
Warrior Dash.
By the way, I put these here just
nice.
I did Tough Mudder. Took me 6 hours or however long. Got my ass kicked, but this is like back in 2016.
Yeah.
I respect the whole idea of obstacle courses. Mm-hmm. I assume that's probably your primary, and what's what One Academy also kind of, that's a bread and butter, the idea of kind of going through obstacle courses and preparing your body with that mindset. So what was that first OCR? Was that...
It was Warrior Dash.
Warrior Dash, okay.
And this would have been, I think, 2014, 2000, something like that.
How many kilometers is that?
It was only 5.
Okay.
And up and down a mountain, and it was pretty cool. You get there and there's 10,000 people on this mountain. You're like, holy shit, this is pretty crazy. And that's what inspired me for my first business. You go, so that's more of it wasn't a seriously competitive one. When you get over to Spartan racing. And then Tough Mudder started their own. So Tough Mudder is not as much of a competition, but they started their toughest series and World's Toughest Mudder, which is gets real competitive. Okay. And but Spartan racing is what I've been doing. And then
they got bought out actually recently.
By Spartan.
By Spartan. Yeah. I think that I forgot his name. The founder of Spartan was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Joe DeSena.
Yeah, Joe DeSena. Massive worldwide reach. I think Tough Mudder is still maintaining their brand, and then Spartan's maintaining their brand. The biggest difference, I think, is with Spartan, you can't skip the obstacles, and if you do, it's 30 burpees. Right?
Yeah. And that's what we like. A lot of us who like to compete and get a time, and for placing, we go and we're doing, Spartan races. And then it's cool to see the OCR World Championships developed 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And has really taken the competitiveness to a next level. It's like, becoming closer to, you see, like Ironman has, really developed into a competition.
Right.
And so you got age group, pro, you got to qualify. It's really tight, and it's really cool to see what it's becoming. Just massive obstacles, testing everything from, strength to agility to grip to, everything. You're running up and down a hill with 50-pound sandbags. It's awesome.
Yeah. What, so I'm going to pretend like I don't know what OCR is, but what is OCR?
So it's obstacle course racing.
Right.
So typically there's races, anything. I've raced races from 2K to 100 miles.
100 miles? Yeah.
Well, we did World's Toughest Mudder.
Okay.
So you're running for 24 hours.
Fuck, seriously.
You're running
When did you do that? How old?
So I've done it. I did it 3 years.
Okay.
And then the last year I did it was 2000. What was that? 2018, 2017, 2018 maybe.
100 miles. Wow, man.
So that's what the top guys are racing.
Right.
I finished third in that race, and I did 90 miles.
Right.
So, but it was pretty cool.
I love how nonchalant Jesse is about this. I only did 90 miles.
Yeah.
Man, first of all, that's an incredible, I can't even wrap my head around that. And
it's probably
was that your longest?
Probably one of my proudest races, I would say. It's up there with a few.
Right.
That would have been my longest race for sure.
Right. Where was it? Where did it take place?
Atlanta.
Okay.
So it was freaking crazy, because you're thinking Atlanta in November is gonna be warm.
Yeah.
Right. They call it Hot Atlanta, but it was record breaking, like the coldest temperature it's ever been in Atlanta at that time. So you're going, and this race starts at noon.
Okay.
And it goes till noon the next day, and you're getting as much laps as you can get done in that time. And then, so there's 20 obstacles, and the worst thing is you're in and out of freezing cold water. You're in and out of lakes.
Right.
And at nighttime it gets freaking cold. And this night in particular got real cold, and it was insane. Like, you're going and you're grabbing onto this, metal or whatever, and the frost is coming off, and
damn,
you've already been out there for 16 hours, and
right.
the frost is just over everything, and you're just like, holy shit. You're just like, this is insane, but you're just like, I can't stop, I gotta keep moving.
Right.
And it was insane. My hands were swollen up to I have some really ugly pictures.
Do you have gloves on and stuff, or
you have gloves, but you're constantly taking them on and putting them off, because some obstacles you just can't do. But it was weird. My hands were so cold and they were so swollen, but I was still able to hold on and grip things, and I wasn't gonna let go. It was really bizarre.
Right. I mean, you must have insane grip to be able to do that. I remember there was this one obstacle, Arctic freeze.
Yeah.
At Tough Mudder, and it literally was just come in and out. But my body was frozen. I had to rely on my team members to kind of pull me out. So I can only imagine you'd be running 90 miles.
Oh, it's insane. It's really it was a nasty one. Let's call it that.
How do you prepare for something like that physically? And then also, let's talk about the physical part of it, and then also mentally as well. But how do you prepare for that physically?
Well, you just really you want to get out there and just spend some time on your feet. So that year, and you're doing all kinds of other obstacle course races too, and that's what I love about the challenge.
Right.
I love a month before that I had the North American obstacle course race championships, and there's the OCR World Championships. So they're ranging from 3 to 15 kilometers, and then you have the Spartans, and they're ranging from 5 to 25 to a 50-kilometer one I did. So
okay.
I wanted to do, and then I remember me and my friend did the lacrosse trail. Spent 80 kilometers on it over a weekend. It's getting out and spending time on your feet, really, just running and adding it up. And then you can't really I think it just all adds up, and then because you don't run for like 15 hours to train for a 24-hour race, right? You spend a few 6-8 hours out there, and then you just gotta spend time on your feet, really.
Yeah. So you don't run for do you run nonstop for 24 hours for that specific race, or do you take
that
breaks?
Race? You go for 24 hours. So it was a 5-mile course, and I have my pit there. Mike was actually in my pit.
Oh yeah, okay.
So you do your lap, and your pit's there, and the idea is to spend, you only want to spend no more than 2 minutes at your pit. So they're refueling you. You're getting nutrition into you or whatever, and they're helping you with whatever you need, and you're back out there. So you don't. Okay. If you want to compete, because you're out there was 1,500 people at that race.
Right.
And if you want to compete with the best and the top guys who are there to compete, you can't stop. There's no sleeping. There's no stopping. You're going that whole time. And I was.
How did you feel?
It was.
What were you thinking? Was there any moments where you're like, what the fuck am I doing here? Or,
well, that race in particular, what was getting me through it was being grateful that I can even freaking do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was thinking about my past. I was thinking all the shitty situations I was thinking about the loser I was back in my whole life. I'm like, look where you are right now. You're at an international race competing against some of the top endurance athletes in the world, doing this freaking epic course. Smile.
Yeah.
Be freaking happy. Be grateful for it. And then, Tough Mudder, is very supportive of the military. So you have a lot of people that have fought in the war out there, and army members, and you got people out there with no missing legs and limbs and whatnot, and out there trucking along, and you're freaking not stopping, and it does help to have your pit back then. I look forward to getting back. I got to the point where I couldn't eat anything. It would make me sick. I would puke it up, and the only thing I could eat was Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Shout out to Krispy Kreme. I love Krispy Kreme donuts.
It's gonna be my go-to.
So is that what you were eating as you were going through the race?
At the start, you can eat. You're not as nauseous or whatever. You can eat kind of everything. So I knew that would happen. So I was trying to eat as much nutrient-dense foods at the start.
Okay.
Because eventually it gets to the point where you have to get calories.
Right.
And things are going to make you sick. So you got to just eat what you can. And I found that dipping the Krispy Kreme in the hot tea I was able to swallow it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because I had noodles and stuff, and it would make me sick. I got brown, you're just getting calories.
Right,
I had gummy bears and candy and nothing I could eat. It would all make me sick. And the Krispy Kreme donuts saved me.
That's a good tip for anybody out there that's preparing for a race.
Anything longer than 12 hours, make sure you get a dozen Krispy Kreme.
So I actually had a couple other questions, but I have a sunshine round. It's a sunshine speed round. What it is, Jesse, is I'm going to ask you a series of questions.
Oh,
right.
Fast.
Try to answer. I'm nervous. It's first thing that comes to mind. Right.
This is gonna be one of those trick ones where you slip a joke one in at the end.
It's to kind of lighten up the mood and also get people to get to know you as well a little bit.
Cool.
It'll be just about 10 or 12 questions. We'll try to go through them as quick as we can. Okay, so you already answered this question, but what's the longest you ran?
90 miles.
90 miles. Who was your childhood celebrity crush?
My childhood celebrity crush, I would have to say Samantha from Who's the Boss.
Okay, yeah. What is the longest you biked?
So I biked for a charity event, my own charity thing I did last year. I biked on my indoor trainer 180 kilometers.
Amazing.
It took me 5 hours, 15 minutes.
Shit. Okay. That's dope, man. I know you kind of answered this already, but you can rethink about this. But what food is your guilty pleasure for you?
My go-to would be pizza or fried chicken or Big Macs. I love a good double Big Mac too.
Yeah. I mean, pizza for me is like my kryptonite. So I know you've been working out and you prepare for these OCR races, but what else do you do for fun outside of fitness? What's your me time to kind of unwind and?
I guess I play with my dog a lot. Okay. I have a good I'm a huge Leafs and Raptors fan, so I love when it's sports season. And then
Do you watch football?
I do watch some football.
Okay.
I'm not like die hard, but
Right.
I love seeing the Bills doing decent.
Okay.
I'm always cheering for the underdogs. So I love seeing those teams that have sucked for so long starting to do a bit better.
Well, it was amazing this time last year with the Raptors.
Yeah.
What we accomplished. And then fast forward to today, the bubble was kind of interesting. You know, we kind of made it still a little farther than we would have earlier would have expected with Kawhi gone. But
yeah,
it was a fun little run that we had.
Yeah.
Who's your role model?
Who's my role model? You know, I don't want to sound like another cliche, but I would say I really look up and am inspired by my own dad.
Okay. Shout out to your dad.
Yeah. He's one of, he's just like a very thoughtful, understanding, forgiving, you know, empathetic, compassionate person. Like he's someone I strive to be like. He will treat a homeless person on the street the same as his own son, the same as a drug addict, the same as a business partner. Nobody's better than nobody, you know, always thinking about those around him. So, you know,
that's so important.
He's someone I want to be like, looking out for family. You know, no matter what I've done in my past, he always found something good to say about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
and even being patient, you know.
I know I made his life hell, but he you know, was always, he never gave up hope on me.
Yeah. No, and definitely, like, I think that reminds me too, like, you know, being grateful for our parents as well to kind of raise us the way they did. And, you know, we wouldn't be here today without them, right?
Yeah.
So that's great. That's a great answer, man. What's your favorite cartoon? What was your favorite cartoon? Oh, maybe it still is growing up.
What was my favorite cartoon? What did I used to love watching? I can't even think. I remember when X-Men I used to love to watch. X-Men.
On Fox, right?
Yeah.
You remember the theme music for X-Men?
Not really, no. But I use, and you probably even heard it when you did Everest. I love the Transformers theme music. I'm always pumping that epic stuff. It fires me up.
Yep. What's your favorite? Okay, you know, you're on an island and you're stuck on the island for the rest of your life. What's the one exercise equipment that you would bring with you?
Exercise equipment? Well, I guess an easy answer would be a squat rack, I guess.
Yeah?
Yeah, because then I can bang out back squats. I can still do lunges. I can still do split squats. Split squats are my favorite exercise.
Is that your favorite exercise?
Yeah, I love especially the if I were to say one exercise is my favorite, the rear foot elevated split squat would be my favorite.
The rear foot elevator split squat. Is that like when you so you have your squat rack on your shoulders?
Well, the weights are whatever. You can have dumbbells in both hands. You can have it on your back in a barbell. You can have it in one hand. You can have it in a goblet.
Okay.
But essentially, a rear foot elevated split squat is a one-legged squat.
Right.
With your back foot is elevated, so you're going to get a nice stretch and opposing hip. I find with the back leg elevated, it really allows your working leg to get to full extension, which is what you're really looking for, so you can engage the glutes. It's going to help with your back squat. And we've been doing a lot in virtual, like people who don't have a bar.
Okay.
You know, we're going to keep those squat muscles strong.
Right.
And it's a single leg exercise. So for us runners and athletes, you run on one leg, you want to train on one leg.
That's cool. You know, it reminds me, I don't know, do you know Jag?
Yeah. Yeah,
so I had him on the podcast.
Oh, no way.
He's a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He used to actually be a member at One Academy before even Manny and them joined. Yeah. He got into Olympic weightlifting. Yeah. So I knew him since university.
Oh, really?
He used to be a really big guy.
Yeah.
And he's had an amazing journey as well to where he is today. Lost a tremendous amount of weight. And he's been killing his own classes. He has his own little fitness boot campus going on as well. Bam. So shout out to him.
I love that guy.
That just reminded me. So I have a couple more questions for you.
Cool.
Okay. If you had to be shipwrecked on a deserted island, but and you have all your human needs such as food and water were taken care of, what's the one thing that you would want to take with you? So all your necessities
Probably my
are good.
dog.
Yeah, Kong? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's second?
What's second? Ooh. Oh, I would need cable TV so I could keep up with the Raps and the Leafs.
Go Raps. Yes, yes, yes. Do you consider yourself a hunter or gatherer?
What does that mean?
If you had to choose between being a hunter or a gatherer, right? What would you choose to be?
Oh, well, I guess I guess I'm a hunter.
Right? Okay. Yeah, that was kind of the obvious answer. Last question. If you could choose one superpower, what superpower would it be and why?
If I could choose one superpower, I guess I'd like to have some.
And don't worry, I'm going to cue in Jeopardy music at this point.
I guess I'd like just to have some freaking superhuman strength, so I could, so I can really clean some of this stuff out there and be the ultimate
superhero.
Alpha male, and everybody would, listen to me, and Doug Ford and all everybody would kind of listen to what I had to say.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I guess, what's your big, are you kind of frustrated with the way the city's kind of handling this pandemic?
Well,
as someone that owns your own business, and also
it can be frustrating. Like, I want it to open. I want our members to have a gym to go to. I see the frustration in our members, and the gym is a big part of their lives. But I understand it's a hard freaking, like me, I can't make a decision. If I feel like a chocolate bar, it takes me 15 minutes.
Right.
I'm out there, and sometimes I don't even pick one. I'm like, I can't even decide.
Yeah.
So I like to be in that responsibility and have those decisions that literally people's lives are at stake. Is like, I understand. I'm empathetic towards it, and I wouldn't. Do I think that there's been decisions that have had the most well thought out, plan? I don't think they've done a good job in that. Right. I would say, like, my gym, for example, I understand closing the gym. I get it. People are breathing deep, droplets, all that stuff. Like, I get it. I would never want someone to get sick or whatever at my gym. But, like, why wouldn't there have been some thought into allowing personal training open for per square footage?
Right.
I have a 10,000 square foot facility. You're shutting it all down. I have 6 trainers who could be working and bringing in revenue themselves, but they can't. And that's revenue that could be coming to the gym, that could be coming to them.
Right.
That can help them pay their rent, pay their food, but the whole gym is closed. But we can still have physio and massage.
And dance classes.
And dance. So how is personal training different from physio massage? And why doesn't anyone either know that or try to see that?
Right.
Where it gets frustrating for me. And again, it's more I'm thinking about the trainers, and I'm thinking about the members at my gym and the people who need it. So
I mean,
at the same time, I'm trying to be cool.
I totally understand that, man. It gets fucking frustrating because, like, the Good Life is a different story, because there's less control, crowd control of people coming in and out and what they do and whatnot, right? But I guess in a setting where there's personal training, totally, you're right, man. Yeah. Like 10,000 square feet, like that's a huge.
I can have 4 trainers in there, and you can have 2,500 square feet for yourself.
Right. I know, like it's frustrating because, you're allowed, like kids are allowed in school, for example, right? And things like that but at the same time, you can't go to the gym. Right? Yeah. You can't dine inside.
I was frustrated about kept being, being in the same line as bars or whatnot. Like, I feel like we're much different than bars. Right. And I feel like it's unfair to associate restaurants with, bars and nightclubs also, where, people are, it's one thing to go and have dinner and sit at your own table with your own group of friends in your own bubble and get, served by someone who's making money doing it.
Yeah.
And then there's another thing going, to a bar and have an excessive amount of drinks, and people get, we all know we get a little dumber.
We
when
forget, we make dumb decisions.
Drinks. I know I do, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, totally. I think it's unfortunate, it's unfair, and I hope like going into the new year especially that I miss going to the gym, man. I miss going, as much as virtual classes are fun, and I know you guys have done a phenomenal job with adapting to these times, giving you a wider audience, of course, and a wider reach. At the same time, there's still real estate that you're sitting on. You still got to pay your bills, and it's unfortunate that people that rely on hospitality and fitness as a means to pay their bills are kind of faced with the brunt end of this.
Yeah.
And honestly, man, like I don't even know about this pandemic too much, like what's really going on.
Yeah.
Right. There's not really much clear information that's been circulated and been communicated to people, like what is COVID-19 and what is it, right? It's just, I noticed little things like the habits that have changed in my life as well, just innately. Like the other day I wanted to go to Tim Hortons and I walked literally up the street and I got there and I'm like, shoot, didn't bring my mask.
Yeah, I know, that's the worst.
Right? And now like I have a stack of 10
and
of them.
you're all the way up here. You got to hike 29 floors.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then I tried to do the whole, you put your sweater over, but I'm like, I don't want to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to see like when the pandemic first, when it first happened, that was kind of still a bit of a transitionary period. Yeah. It was still kind of awkward and weird. Like you kind of forget you're too close, but now you're a little bit more mindful.
Yeah. And it's really cool. It's really interesting to see the entire world and everybody like adapt. Like that's what we do as humans. So, and it's also really cool and inspiring to see people still coming together.
Right.
It's like, whoa, everyone in this place right now is wearing a mask. Everybody is looking out for each other. Everybody's, and that's where we want to like, as much as stuff is frustrating, like we're going to follow the guidelines no matter what. We're not going to sit at the front of our doors and stomp our feet and complain. I might just do that with my dad or whatever. But it's like we're in it together. So whatever the guidelines are, like
well, I want to say most of us are intelligent enough to follow the guidelines, but there is a fraction of the population. The other day, man, like I was walking down Yonge Street, and every Saturday morning there's just a random protest happening, and it's an anti-mask protest.
Oh God!
Right, and it's the worst because they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Are they actually?
And they're really, yeah.
Okay, and if it's one thing I would say is wear the freaking mask. Of all the rules, it's like, yo.
I don't understand why why it's so difficult to do that, right? It's like,
I don't even notice sometimes.
Yeah. Like I'm so used to now, like wearing a mask and putting it on and whatnot.
I kind of like wearing mine. I'm like, it looks kind of badass. I'm like, you got to get some cool ones.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I was telling my mom's like Indian moms especially are really into sewing and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Mom, we got to capitalize on this. We got to make some masks. But like fast forward to today, of course, now every clothing retailer is like.
I'm still wondering why my gym doesn't even have masks. I'm like, yo, why do we not have One Academy masks?
I was thinking of getting some for the podcast. I made like a prototype just to get them, and especially going into winter. I think the biggest challenge, Jesse, is now going into winter. The winter months, because in the summer you have the option of going outdoors and doing classes outdoors, even at a personal level, going for runs, meeting up with your friends and sitting in the park. But like in the winter time. Yeah.
I don't know. I've been going back and forth. I'm not sure if it's going to get better or worse.
Right.
Like maybe it's going to get better because winter, a lot of people hibernate, don't want to do nothing.
Yeah. Well, there's a statistic. There was this, I came across this news headline that apparently COVID killed about 98% of the regular flu.
Oh, really?
Right, worldwide. I don't know if it's true or not. You got to be really careful also when you come across these headlines because like the more information that's out there, it could be honestly whatever, right?
Yeah.
But it either way, man, I think it's one thing that's really important going into, that's been an outcome of this pandemic, is health is wealth. Your body is your temple. We all want to live a very long life. Even though we've made decisions in our 20s and our 30s or when we were younger, poor decisions health-wise, mentally and whatnot, it's important to kind of check yourself.
Yeah.
Check yourself and ask yourself, is this what you want? Going back to what you were saying, like, is this what you really want? And I think that it really starts with that one first step, and then just snowball effect from there and keep moving forward, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But otherwise, Jesse, one last thing. What's your message out there to your community that's tuning in right now?
My message to my community,
the One Academy community, and everybody else actually, but specifically to One Academy, because I know a lot of them are probably tuning in right now.
Yeah, well, they hear me. They hear me all the time. It's just never stop.
Right.
You know what I mean? No matter how hard it gets, and no matter how whatever deflating, no matter what you're going through in your own life, just don't stop putting one foot in front of the other. You know what I mean? There is a finish line. There's light in the dark. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Like, someday those steps forward are going to be a little smaller. Some days the steps are going to be a little bigger, but just don't freaking stop. And all this stuff, like, you can lock us in our basements and our living rooms and whatever, and give us our soup cans and fill up our knapsacks full of waste, but there's always going to be a One Academy class, and we're always going to fight. And I'll set up these parks out there in the freaking snow all winter long if I have to.
Yeah.
Set up courses everywhere. I don't care. Like, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep finding ways to stay together and stay strong.
I love that, man. Yeah, absolutely. I think that, and that goes for everybody else as well. Like, going into the winter, just, keep moving, keep going. Keep grinding, never stop. Like, at the end of the day, there will be an end to this pandemic, even if it's a new normal that comes out of this. We as humans, out of all the species on this planet, adapting and evolving has been one of the biggest nuances of us as a human species. And over the course of the last 100 years, we've made such exponential growth technologically, let's say, and even as a society, how much we've advanced since I was a kid to now. How much has happened in this short period of time.
That's why I say, like, every time we come out of this, every time you come out of everything, no matter what it is, you're tougher, you're more resilient, you're smarter. Right. Like, you're better.
Yeah, I think
so. Freaking bring it.
Yeah, let's do it. I think this is the first time that something has happened to everybody around the world. Yeah. Right? Not just Canada, not just Toronto, but like India, China, Italy, France, US.
Crazy. You'll never forget it.
You'll never forget it. There'll be textbooks written about it. But, like, at the end of the day, you have your own legacy to write. Everybody is a writer of their own script. And I think that's something I tell myself as well. This podcast has been a medium for me to meet people like you, Jesse, hear their stories, get inspired, and ask myself the same question. What do I want out of life? What can I do to be better? How can I level up? Right. And I think going into the new year and ending this year, let's all level up at the end of the day.
That's it.
Right. Jesse, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
My man, these are, by the way, for everybody else that's wondering what we're drinking, we are drinking non-alcoholic beer.
Believe me, if I was drinking, you would know it.
Yeah. And what is it now? 10 years for you?
9 years.
9 years.
I'll be 10 years. 10 years, August 8th. So
next year.
That'll be my
congratulations early. That's a huge achievement, man.
Thank you.
That's a huge achievement to stay disciplined, and I think that that's huge, man. So
thank you.
Everybody else, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. For anybody that's interested in finding more information about One Academy and, of course, about Jesse, definitely I will include their Instagram handles on the episode. I do encourage everyone to also check out the New Addiction documentary for Jesse as well. I'll share that on my platform. And otherwise, guys, Jesse, it's been a pleasure, my man.
Cool. Thank you.
It's been awesome having you.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. Let's get back to it and get back to the grind, guys, and hope everyone has an amazing end to the week and an amazing weekend. Let's get it.
Yeah. Peace.
That was dope, man. An hour and a half.
That was good.
90 minutes.
Really?
90 minutes.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Doesn't feel like it. Yeah.
That was a good one. I like that. You were very good at that. You did very good. You're very good at, like, making the conversation